Prayers for a man who touched the lives of all. But in the void left by Nelson Mandela's death, an awareness of challenges to come. The growing gap between rich and poor is the most brutal reminder that Mandela's promise of a better life is still to be realized.
I think the challenge we have doesn't necessarily need Mandela. It needs us as South Africans to face the reality that if we don't do something very radical, the young people are going to revolt. Because if they remain poor and a few become richer, then the young people will revolt.
The fault lines within South African society have become all too clear in recent times. It was a labour dispute that resulted in the killing of more than 30 people at the Marikana mine last year. But many argue that the root cause of such violence is an African National Congress government that has lost touch with those who put it in power.
If you look at what has been happening over the last few years in terms of public violence, you can see that we have many people who don't feel represented by those in government. And the resort to violence is because they don't feel they are heard.
And there's mounting criticism of the African National Congress, even from those who spent a lifetime in its ranks. A particular point of anger, what is seen as the government's tendency to blame the past for its inability to deal with the problems of the present.
We are accountable. And while we can say there are still legacy issues left of apartheid, we cannot, in a sense, bring out the ghost of apartheid as the reason why we have problems today. Today's problems are our doing and requires a political solution and a new way of thinking of solutions.
The death of Nelson Mandela signals the end of an era, one dominated by a group of political titans, bound both by friendship and the desire to create a better life for all. And as final preparations are made for Nelson Mandela's burial, there's a question still to be answered: whether a new generation of leaders is able to complete the work begun by those who are now gone. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera, Johannesburg.